Guys, Nick wants to tell you a little bit something.
Well, lately, since it's summertime, I'm a very warm-blooded person. I grew up in the tropics, actually, for a good amount of my life. First half of my life, I grew up in Central America and then moved over to Malaysia, where I was used to very hot weather. So today is a tank top day, and lately when I've been staying at home, I've been turning the AC off and
It's not even that warm outside.
I mean, it got to 81 degrees in my house yesterday, and I was so happy to be just typing away, sweating. I hate wintertime.
That's gross.
It depresses me.
So you smell bad because
of that.
because you
that's
work
why.
with no air conditioner on.
Right, that's what I was doing this morning when you hit me up. I didn't realize. I thought it was Tuesday, and yeah, I was just in my sauna typing away.
How does your girlfriend feel about that?
No, I have to do it when they go to work.
So when
she doesn't
gets home,
tolerate that kind of
turns
behavior.
on the air conditioner.
Yeah, or I will before she gets home, so that I don't have to hear her be like, "Why is it so hot in here?" Well, because Daddy likes it hot.
It's like our friend Trey, that whenever we go into his apartment, it would always be so hot.
Yeah, he's pretty warm. He's pretty warm
He's
too.
a programmer, so not a really big guy, so he would just be sitting still all day, and he liked it.
The thing about the warmth is, like, if I am warm, then I don't really have any problems being uncomfortable. Like, if I get a little sweaty or something, it doesn't really bother me. But if I'm cold, it's really going to mess with my ability to want to get into a workflow and be comfortable and kind of sit there, I don't like sitting for long periods of time as is, so if I'm cold or any kind of uncomfortable, it's just going to add to that stress, So surf's up, it's summertime, baby.
I like if it's too warm though, I just get lazy. Like it's got to be kind of not cold, but a little.
You like it a little bit colder than I do, because every time I come into the office, it's colder than I would prefer it to be.
Well, gotta bring some blankets.
When I lived here, I used to keep all the windows open.
They keep
every day.
They keep it cold in offices because people are supposed to be more productive when they're cold.
Not me. So it's probably subjective. Maybe most people maybe. Yeah, I guess they get uncomfortable and self-conscious when they get hot. I don't mind stinking up this joint.
You know what's really weird is every time I go to visit my parents now, their home is colder than mine.
I think old people end up
I thought they liked it warmer.
Boosting it. I'm trying to remember.
But they're really active. They're always outside working and stuff, so they're probably a lot more active than we are.
Go inside and get a cup of tea,
active old people,
cool off a little bit, and then head back out and plant some garden.
All right, guys. Yeah, you know the drill. If you've got questions, drop them in the chat. We've got a list here that we're going to start getting to, and yeah, if you leave a question, we'll eventually get to it. If you're watching on one of our personal streams, make sure you either join us on YouTube or join us in the Facebook group, because we won't answer questions from the personal streams. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube, all that stuff. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and do this one first. Kind of an easy one. Not really a... It's kind of a personal question about our company. Can you tell if we do international link building, so non-English? So as far as our services go, if you want to build links to a foreign site, we can do that. We can also use foreign language anchors. If you're ordering the links yourself and so you're actually specifying all the URLs and the anchor text, you can use foreign language anchors, but it has to be in the English alphabet. No strange accents or anything. It just has to be the normal 26 English letters. But yeah, you can use other languages if you want. The thing is all the sites that we build links on are in English. So it would make more sense if the anchor text was actually in English. Or if it was just like your brand name was a foreign language, that would be pretty normal. But you can still use the foreign language anchors if you want. It would just be kind of more natural if they're in English. Now, as far as our managed link building program goes, which is where we build, basically you just give us a budget and we build the links for you. You know, we choose the links, we choose the targets, we choose the anchor text and all that stuff. We can do foreign language sites, but only if we agree that you know, we're only going to be doing branded anchors, URL anchors, and generic English anchors. You know, our link building team is English only, and it's just too much work to really dig into a site that's in a different language and try to understand what's going on and all the anchor text and what the URLs are and all that stuff. So if you want us to build the links for a foreign site, it's got to be pretty simple. URL anchors, branded anchors, and you know, you've got to tell us the targets, and we'll just go from there. And we've got a couple sites that we do that for. But yeah, it would be best coupled with if you were to, you know, do some of the links yourself with some like exact match anchors and things like that. Yeah, it's possible. All right, let's see what's next. Okay, we got Poly, not sure how to say that. If you are to give on-page advice, someone who has just started building an affiliate site for the first time, what would it be? On-page advice is to stick to the fundamentals. You don't need to go crazy about it. We've actually got an article. Why don't you go ahead and talk for a second? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, Chris's article will go in depth about that. But typically, you know, as far as on-page goes, start with good keyword research so you can get things optimized for your slugs. So, you know, the URL slug, whatever comes behind the actual website or domain. And then, you know, things like your titles, meta descriptions, etc. You know, meta doesn't really have too much to do with.
So I'm going and I'm dropping the
SEO,
link
but
in the chat. And yeah, just like Nick was saying, so we've got an on-page guide, and there are more advanced on-page guides out there. But to be totally honest with you, when we're doing on-page SEO, this is pretty much what we're doing. We don't overthink it. This probably leaves out some stuff like how it's kind of older, like how we're doing with like Surfer.
Oh, right, because I mean, Surfer
like
at this
additional
point has
keywords.
become like integral to the stuff that we're doing, I would feel like. But yeah, overall, you know, like we don't preoccupy ourselves too much with things like schema or extreme technical SEO. You know, it's like get our keyword research done. You know, you can take it as far as optimizing content in Surfer. You know, you're going to have something like Yoast or Rank Math in there as a plugin.
So let's just say this. You've got the content. So maybe you did the content yourself, or maybe you used a tool like Surfer to, you know, tell you like what kind of keywords you should be going for or what the length of it and stuff like that. If you don't have Surfer, you can just basically look up the top ranking sites, kind of take the average of the content length and then you know, maybe do a little bit more than that. You're going to want to look at what keywords they're ranking for on the top ranking ones, and you're going to want to rank for the same ones to try to kind of make sure you're basically not leaving anything out of the article. So if all of the other articles cover a certain topic, a certain subtopic of the main topic, then you want your article to have that too. Basically, you don't want to be the only one that doesn't cover it completely. But yeah, there's multiple ways to go about that. You could do it manually, or you could use something like Surfer SEO or Ahrefs to kind of break it down just a little bit, you know, more streamlined for you. So you got your content on page. We keep it simple. This right here, the core of on-page optimization. These are the things probably in order right here that are the most important things for on-page SEO. Your domain name, like do you have keywords in your domain or not? You know, you might not always have the option to buy a new domain. If you do have the option to buy a new domain, you know, keywords in the domain are great. It doesn't have to be an exact match, could be a partial match. Just could have a little, you know, keyword in it. For example, our website is sirlinksalot.co. We sell backlinks and we've got links in our domain name. Your inner page URLs, you know, you're going to want to get keywords in your inner page URLs, probably your most important place that you're actually going to get your full keyword in. Your title tags, your H tags, your meta description. Looks like we've got another article on. Hey, you do have this. I wonder did you cover Surfer in this one?
I feel like I would have, depending on when that was written. We can click on it real quick, but yeah, Surfer. I love Surfer now.
So yeah, so anyway, you basically want to get your keywords in these spots, and you want to not just hammer the same keyword over and over. You want to change them up. Use variations of your keywords. Yeah, you just don't want the same exact keyword over and over on all of them. You can repeat it maybe in a couple of them, but for example, don't have the same exact keyword in your inner page, in the URL, the title tag, and the H1 tag. Just it'd be better. It would not be over optimized, and you could target more keywords. So basically, you're just painting like a more complete picture by just varying them up, changing them up a bit. Yeah, so you got your content optimization, and then yeah, the article goes a little bit more in depth for each of these sections, just how to do them. Cover content a little bit. Yeah, I guess it covers the basics of content. Page speed. People are going nuts about page speed right now because of the Core Web Vitals update.
I feel like they're always going crazy over page speed. Like since I started SEO, it was always like, oh, I gotta get that up.
Yeah, this is not something we really focus on. You just don't want to be horrible.
It's nice for user intent, right? But as far as Googs goes, I have a website right now where I don't optimize anything for page speed, and it's ranking everywhere. Doing really well, but it is annoyingly slow, so I just need to throw it on a CDN. That's about as far as I go as far as optimizing. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of trying to get like AA on page speed, but if I get a C+, I'm going to be pretty content with that.
The only time I would really worry about page speed if I was working on a really big site and it was like, the scores were really low. The site's like really, having issues.
Well, do you want to jump? For page speed, for those of you that don't know, you can always go to websites like GT Metrics or Page Speed Insights with Google and, run tests there that'll give you an idea of how well your site speed is performing.
GT Metrics. The site we can look at.
And just so you guys know, actually, one of my first SEO ventures ever was a Fiverr gig to optimize page speed, and it was a horrible idea because every website operates differently and different things break whenever you're putting things on a CDN or doing things like that. So it didn't last very long, but if I find the image that I was using for that store, I'm going to put it up in the group because it was pretty fun. It was like Fast and Furious on the back of like a car that was flying through, and I'm like, a mega page speed.
But yeah, anyway, I don't want to spend too long on page speed just because it's not. So like, yeah, Search Engine Journal gets a B, thing like it doesn't. Yeah, and the B is fine. A lot of people are like, they can't put this aside until they get A's, and you're just wasting so much time. Like think about how many articles you could have written, how many like links you could have built in that time.
Yeah.
Just anything is basically you'll get more out of it than unless you have a really bad score.
The funny thing too, though, is a lot of websites you're not going to be able to optimize to an A, just given like the type of plugins you're using or issues that you'd have. Sometimes you just can't get an A. So just as best you can. One way to do that is through a CDN.
So yeah, the article covers covers the basics of page speed, the most important stuff. We also go into schema a little bit, but like we discussed last week, schema is not really something we really concentrate too much on. We could, and it'd probably be good as far as maybe grabbing some additional real estate on page one, but it's just kind of not where our like expertise is, so we can't really.
Spent a little time doing it, a few years back, and then in the end, it just, I guess, wasn't important enough for me to keep working on. A lot of people I know, it's just like, all right, well, throw a plugin in.
Like
just
if I was
like
working on a
Yoast
client site, if I was working like, if I was like had a, if we were still doing like agency and I'm working like a big client site, and schema is probably something I would get
Yeah,
into.
so a
But
lot of it comes down to with,
just not
your
what you
hourly
need.
budget, how much you can fit into your hours, and whether you think it's worthwhile. If I was working for a big corporation and they were paying me, a lot of money to sit and, figure out technical things and then really optimize for those kinds of things versus these smaller sites that I'm working on where, I might use more gray hat tactics to boost those assets up in the search. So, yeah.
Yeah, then we got like your interlinking or your URL hierarchy, homepage, then you got some hub pages, and then basically, so you want your homepage linking to your big hub pages, you want your hub pages linking to the subtopics of those pages. It's really not uh, rocket science or anything. Yeah.
And even this, though, because you'll see a lot of people still talk about siloing and such, and I think we've
Yeah.
moved away from that because our interlinking strategy is very random now. It's, if it's pertinent, especially if you're working on a site that you want to act like a normal site, so not a manipulative site, your interlinks are going all over the
Yeah,
place.
just you link to stuff that makes sense, but we do
Mhm.
like to use hub pages,
Yeah,
like these could be like category
categories.
pages
Yeah.
or like your blog roll is a big hub page. Um, yeah, and then of course there's going to link out to everything in that category. It
hmm
just kind of helps Google understand things a little bit better, not really so
Yeah,
much being
I
manipulative.
feel like for newer SEOs, hierarchy does kind of need to be split up into two kinds of things, right? Which is the overall structure of how you categorize different posts within, you know, their specific niche or where they're supposed to be. But then interlinking, that's not necessarily how it works. That you don't just link within a silo. At least you don't anymore. I wouldn't advise doing something like that.
Yeah, just to kind of circle back around, this is the most important part, getting your keywords in these spots, your domain, your interpage URL, your title tags, your H tags, your meta description, and of course in your content. And as far as the content goes, you can use a tool to see what other sites like keyword density ratios are, or you could just do it yourself. You could literally just pull up their site, search for the keyword, and see how many times they have it divided by the number of words on the page. So if you don't have a paid tool that does it for you, you can just do it yourself. Look at the top rankers and see what their keyword density ratios are for whatever keywords you're trying to rank the page for. Yeah, if you're doing these things right, you're varying your keywords up in these important spots, and you've got your content done right, and you've got the keywords in there, a decent number of times, and you're not stuffing it, you're not like overdoing things. Um, 90, I feel like 98, 99% of the time you're going to do very well, and then it just comes down to link building after that. Um, so yeah, concentrate on this. If you're a beginner, this is like what you should really concentrate on, and not having like a absolutely horrible site structure.
Right.
We see a lot of people that actually have
So
sites
bad.
like their
Especially with
homepage,
e-com
like
sites,
it's
yeah.
like okay, so you go to their site and you can't like navigate to their main services.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
How does this work?
Think about if you're a client, you come to your website, like that, not even thinking about SEO, but if a client comes to your website, you want them to, from the homepage, be able to find like what they're looking for, and what is it, 2 clicks?
Wait, 2 clicks
Is that like the kind of like the best practice or
to
whatever?
move around?
So basically, to be able to find what they're looking for, if a client comes to your
Yeah,
homepage, to be able to
ideally,
find what they're looking for in like two clicks.
yeah, people are short, have
Yeah.
short
So
attention span.
it helps for your users, but it also helps for your SEO. You want Google. Google crawls your site through links. So if those links don't exist on your homepage, if you can't navigate to your other stuff easily, then you're kind of might be setting up some issues with as far as link juice flowing to everything properly, and Google knowing what's important on your site or not. Yeah, focus on this stuff and not having a horrible page structure. Just focus on users and getting the stuff right. Let's see. All right. I see all the questions rolling in on YouTube
YouTube.
and Facebook, but before we do that, we're actually going to do a little site audit. I want to make sure we have enough time. All right. So of course, we're not going to be able to show you the site on this one. Let me try to copy and paste some of the make sure I'm not revealing anything. All right. Pay attention, Nick.
Yeah. Important shit going down.
All right. So what type of links do you recommend I go with? High authority but few, or cheaper but plentiful? Before even looking at your site, if you watch our live streams or anything at all, the answer to that question is both. I feel like the majority of your budget will be focused on like mid to high authority. Um, but you should also do some of the low authority stuff, right? We like to use the low authority stuff for basically anchor pillowing, getting in
Sure.
lots of natural anchors, branded anchors, URL anchors, generic anchors. You should also do some of that stuff on your mid to high authority links, but would you say the majority of the budget's like mid to high authority that we usually do?
Yeah. I mean, it really depends on where the starting point with the site is and what
That's
we
true.
think it needs, right? But overall, try and picture it naturally. So, typically, what happens is when a site gets pressed for some specific reason, it's usually coming from like a bigger authority, or the press comes from like a bigger website, and then there's this trickle down effect of everybody else catching on, writing articles. So personally, I like to emulate that. So I'm using a mix of links, and that's going to create a more natural type of environment that's harder to recreate unless you kind of know what you're doing. So yeah, mix and match, but you can't go wrong with doing high mid authority, and then every once in a while just getting a bunch of small press in there in the form of like barrage or like weaker links or pillow links, stuff like that.
Yeah. So like, generally, if you really don't need to like work on diversity, link diversity or anchor diversity, then in general, I feel like the majority of your budget will be mid to high authority and then some kind of low authority stuff in every now and then. Um, and then he says, also, if I'm trying to push a certain keyword, can I also buy links anchored, exact match anchors? And the answer to that is yes. Um, the more in-depth answer is, exact match anchors are very powerful, and you want to have some exact match anchors. The problem is that a lot of people go overboard with this, and they do it in a very unnatural way to where the majority of their anchor text going to that page end up being, exact match or partial match anchors. You need to do, just with like links. So, with your links, you're getting a bunch of different kinds of links. You're building a diverse link profile that appears natural. You need to do the same exact thing with your anchor text. And, if you go and you look up natural sites, exact match anchors for the overwhelming majority of the time, do not make up the majority of their anchor text profile. So you just, you want it to be a pretty small amount that you're using exact match anchors with. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, not really.
All right, so now
That's good.
let's go ahead and look at a site. And let me get in.
Or I guess just like from an experience perspective, I mean, I'm typically doing really heavy pillowing with my anchors in the form of branded naked, those kinds of things to the homepage typically before I start off on getting a little more aggressive with exact match or variations of those exact matches. Um, and then it's more of a sprinkle in one or two links with exact matches and seeing how that registers in the SERPs.
It doesn't have anything important in it, right?
Yeah, you didn't get any of the competitors, right? Nice.
All right. For everyone watching along, just so you can kind of know what's going on, this is a local site, a local service-based company. Um, yeah, you can see they've only got about 42 referring domains right now, so really not many domains. And I would say the DR, the domain rating, kind of reflects that, right? DR is pretty low as there aren't that many domains. And he's starting to get some keywords. He's got some keywords. He's got some traffic. You can see the keywords and traffic graphs right here. Looks like it's kind of stagnated over time. Had a little pop right here, whatever. But over time, it's going up and down, but it's averaging out pretty much about the same thing.
Also, we said this is local, right?
Yeah, it's local. And it's in Ireland.
Yeah.
So now and so I think his main question was he wanted to know why his main keyword wasn't really moving. So let me show you what that is. Here, this is the main keyword right here.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Very broad.
Yeah,
it's not like a local term, like, let's say hypothetical, it was plumbing in a certain area or something like that. It's not. It's more in line with like just going after plumber or plumbing.
I'm not seeing it on Ahrefs at all.
Yeah, and overall, for this keyword, I would think, if you've got map pack capabilities, then you could optimize for this keyword and actually maybe get map pack listings. If you're going after organic rankings, my guess is this is going to be quite competitive, and you're going to have to be one of the top movers in the area to really get that keyword. So, would have to keep building out the site in the form of content and quality links.
So the site is definitely ranking for some relevant keywords. It doesn't really have much on page one or anything, or at least Ahrefs says it doesn't have anything on page one except for branded stuff.
But it is moving to like page 2, 3 on here, which is a good sign. It doesn't have the most RD, which you can see from the image here.
Hey, if you're watching, what URL are you trying to rank that one keyword on? Go ahead and send me a message or just drop it in the comments wherever you're watching. I'm taking a look around the website right now. It's got this weird thing where when you go to his services, it asks you to select your county.
It's just different areas pages, right? Basically.
Guess so. I'm not really sure about this.
Okay, so it's like a package list that they do for each specific area, I guess. Like, that's intuitive, right?
Okay, so I guess his main services page he's trying to rank for. So it'd be just this. So first of all, this page, it doesn't look optimized for the keyword at all. I feel like it would make more sense to rank, what's this?
Maybe even like the home page over this page, quite honestly.
Ugh, I'm not sure about this site structure.
And then look at those slugs.
Like you choose a
Check out the slugs.
Yeah, I know. And then you like try to.
Yeah, I don't want to sound overconfident about this, but this isn't something that I've traditionally really ever seen working. Typically on a local site, I'm going to have an areas served section and then a services section. And what's gone on here is it's more of like, it's working sort of like an app, I guess, where you would pick where you are and then which services you're looking for, but like the way that it changes the URL structure isn't optimized for anything. It's like post tag equals whatever on the back end. So it's definitely not going to do you any favors with crawlers.
So let's go ahead and look at. I'm just pulling up. I typed in Austin plumber. So it's a local service-based keyword, and I'm gonna go ahead and look up this one, which looks like it's a bigger site. They probably have a ton of different locations, right? So you can see what they do is, here up at the top, they just have their domain, rotorouter.com/Austin. And then here you click emergency services. And then, so yeah, now it's taking you to like plumbing, emergency plumber. And they've got Austin, Texas up here. I wonder why it doesn't have Austin in the...
Well, because this would be a service page, right? And then it's tied into areas served page. What's cool is that it's intuitive as to where you are. So they've got some kind of like tracking capability on here. Which is a nice site.
Normally what people do is they'll have like a services kind of thing like this, and then they'll have like a location.
We go to the bottom, I bet there's a way to find the services pages, or I mean the areas served pages, I would think. Usually it's down here somewhere. Canadian site. Well, it's got to be somewhere.
I don't know what these guys are doing. Here we got locations.
Oh.
Well,
okay, yes. So here we go.
Is it only Austin?
No, go back to that site. Or click here. Right? Can you not click that?
Where?
Locations? Yeah. Huh.
That's weird.
Maybe it's like, oh. Well, maybe they do only have an Austin location with the intention of growing out of it.
This one's like a little bit like not super. Let me try to find another one.
Find like Daniel Austin, something small.
So these guys are just Austin. So I want to find one that has actually different like locations. It's only Austin. Only Austin.
I think Fox is like a big one, right? Fox Plumbing and HVAC Services. They should be in national. If you look them up.
Fox Plumbing.
Yeah. There we go. I think this is them.
So yeah, you can see, they've got like their different like services all up here just off of like menus and stuff, or you could just have a services page with all of your services on it.
Oh, well, this is optimized for Austin as well.
You're doing that. I haven't done
Well,
local.
I mean, that's the homepage, so I'm guessing this is actually a local company, and I'm not it's not as big a company as I thought.
It doesn't say.
It
doesn't say. I mean, in the...
Oh, yeah, I was just looking here. See, installation in Austin, Texas, unless... Well, yeah, there'd be no way to make the homepage just specifically for that.
But anyway, instead of like wasting more time trying to find a good example for you, what I will say is that if you look at any of these sites and then you look at your site, you'll notice that the way these things are structured are very, very different. Yours is kind of set up like an e-commerce type website. And it seems like you don't really have, like no matter what area you choose, it just changes your, I don't know, it's like these auto-generated kind of like URL slugs and stuff.
Yeah, they don't have any kind of indicator as to what the page is about, right? It's just, it looks like machine jargon.
Yeah. I just don't know. I've never really seen something like this ranking well. It's just not normally how people do local service-based sites.
Not to say that it couldn't work, but I personally would steer away from this just given what I'm used to and what I've seen, historically.
Yeah, if I was doing a local-based site, I would just stick more like, the general local sites do. Services drop down, areas served drop down, different page for each area served page.
Yeah, simple.
Yeah, I feel like, this kind of complicates stuff.
And I feel like all this content is probably the same every time you switch to a different area, right? Like it's just the same content.
I believe so. Here,
yeah.
We'll try again. So
Yeah. So it's the same exact
Yeah.
content on every page, with then an ability to click on the service through there. I'm not trying to rank local city-based services. The area selection is not done for SEO.
It says, I'm not trying to rank local city-based services. The areas section is not done.
Just trying to rank the service. But yeah, but
that's, the keywords that you're ranking for are local keywords.
right, so it all builds
Like if you go and you
picture.
type any of your keywords into Google, they are local searches. That means that your website needs to be optimized for local SEO. It's you don't want to try to like break the mold here and do something like completely different. The best thing to do is to look at what's working, look at the kind of the site structure that the other sites are using and emulate that. And I think what you're going to find is that no sites that are ranking for your keywords are structured like yours is. Hopefully that makes sense. Just kind of waiting on a response here. But other than that, just looking at the site in Ahrefs, 42 referring domains. It's not a ton. It's starting to pull up some. I just want to look at the links.
He says, gotcha. So would I be trying to push my keywords as blank services in the area, etc.? So
you need to go do your keyword research, right? So, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, like that's right. You need to go do your keyword research, and then, based on what we said, we would advise you're building the entire picture. You're trying to go after this broad term, which is the equivalent of going after like plumber, right? So if somebody's typing in plumber in whatever area, you'd like to show up. But to do that, you're going to have to build a big picture that's relevant to the areas served and the services that this website provides. And the easiest way to do that and easiest way to structure it would be to have an areas served section and a services section. That way you're doing niche relevance and doing geographic relevance, but it's all very tidy and it explains not so much just to a human, but to Google crawlers, this site is about this geographic area and this is what they do. And ultimately, that's what's going to help you be an authority in that section. Right now, you're not doing yourself any favors because, it's the same content across the board, no matter what area they're going to. I'm willing to bet that if you look at your competitors in the area, their site structure is probably going to be more similar to what we're talking about. And I would probably base, some of this off going and exploring that myself and kind of seeing what kind of site structure I think is being favored by Google. But chances are it's something along that route.
Yeah, when in doubt, and you can do this with anything. You can do it when you're looking at the type of backlinks that competitors have, the length of their content, how much they're using the keywords in the content. When you're not really sure what to do, look at what's working. Like Google gives you the answers to the test on page 1, right? So you look at page 1 for whatever keyword, look at the top rankers and look what they're doing. And you can, you can apply that to anything in SEO, site structure, backlinks, keywords, whatever. So as far as your site goes, so if this was your site, Nick, what would you do at this point? He's asking about link building and stuff, but
yeah, I mean, he can always link build, right? But just go to the home page until you figure out your site structure better. That way, at least you're beefing up the authority of your site while you're working on something else. Because Google will favor sites that seem to have work going on as well, or that are shifting, especially if they're shifting towards more positively, reinforced kind of on-page structure, or proper on-page structure. So You can link, but if your budget or time are an issue, then I would, and like I could only do one thing, I would start by creating an areas served in a services two sections, and then building out a more normally structured site.
Yeah.
And maybe get that to where it's 5 pages to 10 pages each. See how that resonates a little bit, but once you've got that, then you can tie the whole room together and link build confidently.
Yeah, I'll just say this, so with a website, you want to always be moving forward with link building. So like Nick said, maybe that means that for right now you're just building links to the homepage.
Yeah, and maybe not even that many, just like a couple just to keep relevance to the site,
Yeah,
right? Just
basically
because it's not structured right doesn't mean that people aren't using it.
Yeah, and so then while you're just slowly accumulating links to your homepage, the website's slowly starting to build up its link profile. If this was my site, I would be mainly focused right now on getting the URL structure cleaned up and getting it more like a normal site that you would see ranking. Area served pages with a bunch of different pages for each area you're serving. A services page with all your different services.
Yeah, how many pages are indexed in Google? We didn't look that up. I want to see how many, because I see here it's 76 results, so I'm guessing 76 areas, but they're all the same content. So it's 76 pages, all the same content.
278 URLs indexed.
Yeah, and so for a local site, I'm guessing that's, pretty hefty. And then let's take a look at them. Oh, you close it already? Category. Yeah, see, so like even the category pages for this is /category/number. Not explaining. It's very random. So it looks like even just the hierarchy needs to kind of help. Going off of
I feel like we
what we
see this a
talked
lot with
last
people
time.
that people maybe they're kind of newer to SEO and they start sites on like e-com platforms, and it just
Or use a
is this
plugin that's kind of
mess.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they use some kind of builder or something, and it just makes everything harder for them.
How many of these index pages are brand category? No information about what the category is, but you'll see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They're like all these archive pages.
Yeah,
I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, my guess is a lot of this is just it's some kind of auto-generated plugin or something like that.
It's like the whole site was just auto-generated. None of this has been optimized, right? These title tags, none of the title tags have been optimized for anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's about.
I know it's probably not an answer that you like.
Nobody wants to hear it.
No one wants to hear the answer of rip down your site and make a new one.
But if it is a plugin, it's pretty simple. You're ripping it down, you're creating 2 new categories, and then you're building off those 2 new categories, services and areas. You don't have to blow it out. Don't worry about getting all 76 of the old locations there. But get the handful that are most important, especially based on where you're currently ranking, is what I would advise. And then optimize for those, and then build off of that. But it's not that big a deal. It shouldn't be that much of a headache to fix this.
So the good thing is that your site's really not ranking for anything right now. You don't really have anything on page 1.
Right.
So by doing this, by actually just ripping the band-aid off and redoing how your site is structured, you're not really going to be hurting much. People don't really go to page 2 or anything to find. He says he's actually in the works of restructuring the site, ditching the area selection, making category-specific services, and very good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just stick on that path, be confident that you're doing the right thing, and once you're set up there, you can kind of regroup.
Yeah. one step at a time. And yeah, for right now, you could just, for example, you could just build links to like your homepage and maybe whatever. So you're gonna end up having to like 301 redirect like old URLs to whatever the new URLs are.
I don't
But
even
if
know how important that's going to be with the way that
but
it's
if it's
structured,
his
but
services page, if
yeah.
you just do /services or whatever, you could build links to that hub page as well. But yeah, main focus getting the site kind of where it needs to be as far as how it's structured and everything.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
I don't think we can do another website audit. Let's just do some questions.
Yeah. Is it better to have one general backlink-rich SEO landing page that covers all topics or separate landing page for each topic with fewer backlinks? So like I was saying with your previous question, you need to look at what's working. Look at what Google is allowing to rank for certain keywords. For some keywords, Google might prefer these huge articles that are like 6,000 words, 10,000 words, and they cover really topics fully and they rank for tons of keywords each. And then for other keywords, they might like 500 word or 1,000 word articles that really just cover one little section of the overall topic. As far as like backlinks go, I feel like you're kind of mixing a couple things up here. So as far as backlinks go, you should have a lot of backlinks going to your homepage, and then you should send some backlinks to inner pages every now and then.
And hub pages.
And hub pages. You don't want your inner pages getting too heavy on backlinks, unless it's like a really big hub page, like a big category page or your blog roll or something like that.
Yeah, just best practice. Hierarchy of where the backlinks go is typically homepage, then to hub pages, and then to inner pages that are more popular, more competitive. Typically.
And so how many links you end up sending to each inner page will kind of depend on the competition. But in general, your homepage is stronger on links than the inner pages get less. But
I think the main thing to focus on with this question isn't even so much the backlink situation, but this idea of what should my article be, really long and deal with a lot of things. And like Chris said, make sure you're actually going to those SERPs and then actually seeing what is working there. Typically you're going to have overwhelming data on page 1 about exactly what Google's looking for there. Tools that you can help audit this kind of stuff a little bit quicker are things like Surfer SEO, which is a great tool to get used to. But yeah, hypothetical, a landing page with tons of content on it, 5,000 plus words might be more confusing to a crawler because it's got too much information that's, divvied up into the SERPs, in the form of shorter articles. So, just look at what Google wants and then give Google what it wants.
So for follow-up, he says, for example, if I have a cleaning business that does commercial cleaning, should I have one long page about all types of commercial cleaning, or should I have separate pages for office, restaurant, school? My guess is you're probably going to want separate pages, but again, you need to type in your keywords into Google and look at what Google is currently allowing to rank for those keywords. Like we mentioned in the previous question, Google gives you the answers, right? They show you exactly what they like. So go look at what's working and then emulate that on your own site. Don't try to reinvent the wheel here. That you're a lot of SEO. I mean, unless you're like doing this really experimental stuff, you do not want to think outside of the box.
Not typically, unless you're very comfortable maneuvering the normal stuff, right? Like if you got it down and you're like, I can tweak this a little bit more. Otherwise, just stick to the basics and the fundamentals, What does Google want? I can literally type in the keyword I'm trying to go after and get an input of that data. Very simple.
Yeah, so just Google's your best friend here. Look at what it's showing you for those keywords, and structure your site accordingly, or structure your content accordingly. Um, yep. All right. I think we have some questions on YouTube.
Yaniv, welcome back.
And they've got the questions.
Yeah.
He saves his questions from
You
all
got some
week.
good questions. I like that. Keep bringing them.
All right, so 2 questions. Firstly, does a 301 redirect from a non-niche relevant domain to a money page site move the needle anymore?
So again, 301s have gotten more wonky over the years. You used to be able to do massive kind of spammed out 301s that were more general to maybe niche down sites and get huge influx in the SERPs. Now, for me, I only practice very niche relevant domains being 301'd with clean history. And then I don't expect to get a huge pop in the SERPs overnight. Typically, it's going to take a while before any of that resonates. And I mean, I'm talking months, right? So if it's something that I've found that's very clean, very pertinent to the niche that I'm trying to rank for, and I really like it, I think it can help me, cut out a lot of backlinking costs, etc. Then I'll 301 it. But again, the rest of the campaign stays normal. I just treat that as any other day. The 301 went up, cool. Keep doing content. Keep normal backlinking going. The beauty of a 301 too, and like I said, now I only do niche relevant. You can get away with doing something general, like maybe you're talking about, but it's very volatile. So the only way to really know is to go ahead and jump off the cliff, so to speak. But I know, if you get something that's niche relevant, you're going to have a better chance of success with it. And then, keep things going as normal. The beauty of a 301 is, you're emulating the buying out of another company or like the takeover of something else, right? And so that's also a good opportunity to create a huge influx of backlinks if you wanted to. So you can 301, do a press release that you've bought out another company, and get all sorts of different traction in the form of press during this time. And that looks very natural because that's what would happen naturally. With 301s, I see a lot of people these days who are looking for the old-timey way of just taking a 301 that hacks, having 300 referring domains overnight, and I'm just going to rank. But the fact of the matter is the people that are doing that are typically waiting now months before any of that's going to resonate. And you've got to keep working on your site like normal. However, if you're painting a more natural looking picture, the 301 is going to take a lot quicker in my experience.
Yeah, I'll just say, the farther away you get from super relevant, the higher the chances of it just not working, or maybe even kind of working in a bit of a negative way for you. I have, as far as relevance go, though, I have seen some sites work really well. For example, okay, let's just take, we're in SEO, so maybe the site's about SEO, but they 301 redirected like a tech domain.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like general like technology. It might even have stuff about like VPNs or networks or blah blah blah. So it's not
niche
relevant for
down can be general.
SEO. It's more of like the parent niche for SEO, and I've seen that work really well in some cases. The thing is I feel like sometimes it might end up not working long term. It can though.
I feel like if you get the wrong 301 right out of the gate, but it is like an overall clean thing, what Google likes to do is they like to give you a hard kind of slap in the SERPs is what it's going to feel like. And this might last months before it actually brings things up and starts reacting normally. But you have to be willing to like sit through that volatility and wait it out and see if it ever comes back. This could take months. I'm talking like 6+, right?
Yeah, so my advice would just be, get as relevant as possible, but the general, more like parent niche can be good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use something that's more like outside of the parent niche. Like
Probably not.
if we have an SEO website and we don't have an SEO domain to 301, we don't have a tech domain, it's like um dog toys domain or something, like I just know.
Yeah, or
Like home
even like
cleaning or something.
an old products type domain. Probably not something that I'd go for.
Yeah, I'd want it at least to be kind of like in the parent niche for whatever you're in.
Mhm.
That's about as far as I would go.
Yeah, just best practice, especially if you're unsure.
All right. Secondly, if I have a link from a non-niche relevant page, can I improve the relevancy of the page by linking to it with specific niche relevant anchors?
So I've got a link,
Coming from a page that's not
not
relevant.
relevant. I guess on a different site, right? We're not talking interlinking here.
Yeah, maybe it's a PBN or maybe it's at the 301 domain or something.
So can I improve the
Basically,
relevancy of that page by linking to it? So you're talking about tiered link building, I guess, using niche relevant anchors and hypothetical. Yeah, technically that would push, because what's happening is Google crawlers are, they're finding these websites by crawling all these links and running through them, right? And so you've got this non-niche relevant PBN that was dedicated to dog toys, I guess, but you're trying to promote your SEO
so you're
services,
linking
and
to
then
that linking page with a bunch of SEO links
SEO links. Yeah,
or
in
SEO
hypothetical,
anchors.
yeah, it is going to boost the relevance about what that is. And it's not necessarily so in comparison to a 301, you can get away with this a lot easier, because even though dog toys doesn't really have anything to do, but hypothetical, let's say it's a PBN with SEO, you can make the article about, or the content about that, right?
Maybe
And
you
then
might
if it
not.
gets links going to it, relevant to SEO for dog toys or something, it still boosts that narrative that this is something to do with SEO, right? And even though the backlinks don't match up to SEO, they're pet relevant. The article itself does talk about that, and it'd
So
be
it's kind of like a
natural, right?
filter.
It's a filter.
The content in the on page acts as kind of like a filter for the unrelevant links it's getting, and then
Right.
it filters that power, and then you pass a link.
But I mean, it's very natural, right? Think about it. Like Betsy's Dog Grooming uses Troy's SEO services, and then wants to do a shout out on their blog about it. That's fine, and that happens all the time naturally. So
Would you do this though? What he's
well,
talking
tiered
about?
link building, I wouldn't really think
'Cause-
about
'cause
it too hard. Usually, I just use
Normally we do
very
the opposite
generic.
of this.
Um,
So normally what we would do, for example, in the case of a PBN, is you have a domain that has a bunch of links coming to it about pets, but then we're changing the content and the on page of the site to be about something else, like technology.
Sure.
And then we're linking to another technology-based site. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
he is saying this site's going to be about pets,
Mhm.
it's getting technology links, and then we're linking to a technology site.
Okay,
So
so
it's kind of these two
I mean, I
things are
guess
flipped,
it
right?
depends on what type of link this is too, I guess, right? Because you've got more ability to create a sort of narrative with like a guest post or a PBN versus like a niche edit, right? Um, does he have a little bit of info on that, maybe?
Um,
Mm-mm.
Not really.
Yeah, I mean, hypothetical, when I'm doing tiered link building, it's mainly just generic anchors. And if I've got a PBN that's not niche relevant, I'm really not going to worry about it too much. If I've decided to take the link on it, then the link just exists. And if I do tiered, it's usually to a bunch of different assets with different type of links. So I honestly don't give it too much thought. I don't worry about if it's not 100% niche relevant and I got the link from it, I'm not going to worry about trying to influence how much more niche relevant it is, unless, you've got a limited budget, you're looking from an efficiency standpoint that you really need to optimize things to boost this. It could work in your favor.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. It could work. I personally would not spend my time doing something like this. I wouldn't spend my time and my budget uh, doing that. I would I would just focus on getting um, you know, relevant links directly to my site rather than trying to put a bunch of relevant links to another site that's linking to my site that's not actually relevant, and then the links are relevant. I don't know. I personally would not do this. Do you ever do this?
I mean, I'm not too big on everything having to be niche relevant, so I'll just accept the link. If I can get the link
But
and I
would
think
you
it's a good
build
link.
relevant links to a non-relevant source that's linking to
A
you?
hypothetical, I like to use barrage links as a tiered link building strategy, so I can ask for whatever specific niche I want, and then yeah, it's going to boost
But
by
your
proxy.
your tiered targets, would you be
If
building
it's
trying to
like
build links
yeah,
to like for as far as tiered targets go, wouldn't you normally your targets would want to be something good?
well, just because it's general doesn't mean it's not good. I mean, it could be a very powerful site that I want, like a guest
It says
post.
non-niche relevant.
That's fine.
So
It's like, there's like big blogs, right? So let's talk about like something more general, like a news website, right? Or even shit, a dog toys
the
website that ranks for a ton of stuff. You've got a link on it. It's not niche relevant, but it's very strong. If I'm doing tiered link building, so like hypothetical, if I set up tiered link building, it usually looks like come in at the beginning of the month, I order my links for that particular asset, and then I've decided, all right, I'm going to do some tiered link building. Usually that means I go over and I comb over the latest historical links that I've built, and I do a tiered link building to them. So, I mean, like the point is to get good links overall going to your site. But I mean, yeah, I don't think they have to be niche relevant. And then on top of that, it's just like I'm not going to worry about this so much to where I'm like, oh, I need to influence this more general backlink that I have because it's good. It's just not something that's going to cross
yeah,
my mind.
so A, this is not something we ever do, and B, if you're doing tiered link building, I would basically want to use my budget on better targets. But yeah, it's just not something we do. I feel like you could
Well,
use your budget better elsewhere. What?
well, it's something that I do, but I just don't do it like on purpose, right?
Like
Like I'm not.
news is different.
Let's say I order, um, or I've got 10 links that came in last month, right?
Mhm.
7 of them are very niche relevant. And let's say like this just came in naturally. 7 of them are niche relevant, and then 3 of them are general. Uh,
General is different from like non-relevant. I feel like everyone gets general links. So
that
let's
doesn't
talk.
mean they're not
So
worthwhile though.
let's talk about a link that's just not relevant at all.
Okay.
So are you going to try to influence a dog pet, a dog toy, so a dog toy article linked to you, and you said, well, I want this to be more relevant for me, so I'm just going to link to it with a bunch of SEO
Oh
links.
yeah, no. I mean,
It's not
it's going to be
something we
like
do.
general tiered link building, but what I was getting at was like from perspective of using a barrage, since they are niche relevant, like that will pass through in the form of, this article is about tech. It goes to a dog toy thing, then back to tech. It will influence like the overall, network. It's crawlable, so it's like, all right, well, this is about tech. This goes to dog toys, which is obscure, but then it comes
Okay.
back. But it's not something
I feel like
I'm
we
not
have
doing it on
I feel like
purpose.
we have a very long answer to this, and the answer is actually
Don't worry
we
about it.
don't do this. We never try to do this. Um,
Yeah, yeah, we don't try and do it, but like I'm saying,
like,
it's not a terrible practice. It could actually boost some potential, but it's not. I wouldn't
but
worry
like
about it.
just for someone asking
He's
the
not even
question,
asking about tiered link building yet. No, yeah, don't worry about it.
just do something else, like build other links to your website or something. Just I would just focus elsewhere. Focus elsewhere. That was a very convoluted answer. But hopefully it helps.
Don't
Um,
overthink it, dude. It's yeah, don't overthink it.
yeah, so it's like completely like non-relevant. He's talking about.
Yeah, and I mean the answer is you can do that.
So I have a music site PBN linking to a locksmith site. Can I do tier 2 links with locksmith Inc? I just
Yeah,
um
but I mean, like, don't worry about when you tier link build. Don't worry so much about trying to optimize the anchors. You might create like a footprint or over optimization. It's not like Google doesn't read back tier 2, tier 3 plus like they do, and they take note of that. And it all factors into how natural
you-
like your campaign is looking.
Do you do this though with your PBNs?
Well, so
Do you build-
hypothetical, if I build tiered link building, it's the same. I just go in, then I've gotten all these links from
But
the prior
we're-
month, and then I would
so
just come in and
want
I
you
would
to
add.
answer the question about his PBN. Do you do what he's saying?
If I have a music site PBN linking to a random site,
To a locksmith site.
yeah.
So it's got a music PBN.
I use random PBNs to link to assets in different.
And are you going to
regions.
start building more links to this PBN about locksmithing?
No, but
This is what I'm getting at. It's just
yeah,
not
but
something
I don't
we do.
think. Well, no, but so tiered link building is something where again I'm going to be using general. Here, pull up.
When you
pull
get
up Paint.
when you get a PBN domain, are you ever buying more links for your PBNs?
Sure, I might tier to a PBN.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but
It's not-
it all comes in waves. This is what I'm saying. Like
It's not something
I put in
really-
my order last month, right? It came in this month. Then I decide, okay, I want to tier to those links from last month. I'm not going to be trying to boost relevance. I'm just going to be using
So
pretty
you
generic
will not be
anchors.
doing what he's saying.
I'm not doing it on purpose, no. But due to how I tiered link build,
I think we should
it
just leave
does
it at
happen.
that though, without it getting like too convoluted. Like we don't do this.
But again, if he's trying to boost efficiency and he can, you're fine. Don't do it. Just don't. Yeah. Hypothetical. If you can get those links that are more niche relevant, just like Chris said, send them to your actual asset.
yeah, if you're gonna, so like, from my point of view, when you're getting
I feel like that
when you're getting a PBN.
Now I'm like, yeah.
When you're getting a PBN, you're buying the PBN with its links that it already has. That's why you get a PBN. Like I'm
But
never,
that doesn't mean I'm not going to boost the actual post. Like I'll tier
okay.
link build.
So you might do that, but like I'm not really sending a bunch of links to like PBN domains to like boost them more.
Definitely
so
not to boost
when
relevance.
you're yeah, definitely not what you're talking about, boosting relevance.
Yeah, no. Just to create crawlability would be the only reason. I'm going to use
Yeah, maybe
generic
give them
anchors,
some
and I'm
fresh links every now
I'm
and
not
then.
going to think about it when I ordered my tiered links, what niche I'm hitting anything with. I'm just doing tiered link building across a bunch of different sites.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps. Anything else to say on this one?
No.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even here, just it's a locksmith, it's a music site. They don't have anything to do with each other, but you can make them have something to do with each other, right? I mean, Jimmy the Locksmith plays in a band or something like that, or likes to DJ on the weekends. Stuff like that happens naturally.
For sure. All right.
That's
I
about
think
it.
we're gonna go ahead and call it there, guys. Looks like we're running out of questions. Yeah, thanks for showing up. Hopefully our questions helped you. Hopefully our answers weren't too convoluted on some of them. But SEO is like
There's different schools of
there's
thought.
so much you can do. And so like when we're giving answers, what I generally try to do is like give best practice answers. Or like,
Especially for newer
or
folk.
so for example, like some of like the last couple questions that we answered, what you're talking about could actually be okay. It's just not the direction I'd ever really go in. I just feel like things could be done better a different way.
Yeah, if you're newer, keep it simple is
Yeah.
the way to go. Keep it simple.
Especially, some people, for example, Yaniv, is definitely an out of the box thinker.
Yeah, he likes doing the experimental stuff,
is-
which is gonna be good over time. You'll learn a lot doing this kind of stuff.
For sure. You'll probably learn a lot quicker than
You might lose a lot of money too. I've lost a lot of money over the years getting
Yeah.
experimental with different practices. But in the end, they help build a sort of toolkit that you'll use. So
Yeah, but definitely in the beginning, while you're really getting your foundations built, I feel like things are really better. It's kind of just stick to the basics of what's working. You don't need to try to get too advanced or think outside of the box. And basically, you don't want to try to make your like creative thinking, you don't want to try to think more creatively than other SEOs when you don't really know SEO that well quite yet.
You might get
Um,
yourself into a hole that actually isn't very beneficial, and then, you've squandered a lot of time and energy on things that, if you would have kept it simple, would have probably provided you with more benefit over time.
yeah. Um, yeah, so simple is good in a lot of cases. Um, yeah, I'm kind of just ranting again on the topic we already covered. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Join our Facebook group, SEO Roundtable, if you're not in it quite yet. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.